the study of the how to reassess your chess book. In the first session, we started to study the imbalances, and actually we studied the first 5 imbalances which discussed in this book about the superior minor pieces. That was the first one. The second one was about the pawn structure. The third one was about space. The fourth one about material. And the fifth one was the control of a key file. This was in the first session. If you are interested about those, just check the videos and you will find a video about that. And today we will study the next 5 imbalances. One will be control of a weak square, then will be one about the lead in development. The 8th will be about initiative, the 9th about king safety, and the last one will be statics versus dynamics. How to Reassess Your Chess is a great book written by international master Jeremy Silman. It discusses positional chess in great detail. The book is nearly 700 pages with a lot of great exercises and examples. If you're enjoying these sessions, then I suggest you to get the book and also study all of the exercises and examples on a real chessboard. So let's look at the first example for today. This is about the control of a weak square. So this is an imbalance where we're focusing on squares, especially on weak squares. What is a weak square? A weak square is a square which cannot be protected by pawns anymore. For example, the e6 square or the d5 square, they cannot be protected by pawns anymore because maybe a pawn already moved. Thank you very much for the follow, Neil. Or there is no more pawn on the neighboring file which would be controlled. So as you look, d5 and e6 squares are weak squares. Actually also like d4 or e5 squares are weak because white cannot control them anymore. Which is a very important thing, is a weak square is really a weak square if it can be used by an opponent piece. So example here, the d5 and the e6 squares can be used. How can be used? Yeah, by this knight. So the knight can go to d3 and then to f4 and jumping one of those nice squares, and there it has an increased power. And actually this example will be good also about the superior minor pieces, because the knight is much better on d5 and on e6 than the bishop, which is limited by its pawns. The knight can reach also those squares via e2. That would be kind of like a dream square for the knight on d5 or on e6. Here white also has more space, so after reaching one of those squares with the knight, probably would focus on the breakthrough or opening the position. His advantage is probably playing for g5 and later maybe attacking the black king. Okay, let's go for our next imbalance, lead in development. For this one, I will show you a game, which is actually a game which is typical for players who just starting out and wants to play a gambit on active play. Okay, so let's just start the game and then I will go in deeper. What is a lead in development? So e4, c5, it's a Sicilian defense. d4 is called the Smith-Maura Gambit. So white actually sacrifices a pawn for the lead in development. which means lead in development means the player who has lead in development actually develop more pieces, so more bishops and knights or rooks or queens than the opponent. We can say this also like a time advantage. Knight f3, d6, bishop c4, knight f6. Okay, so when you have lead in development, that means you have more pieces already active in the position. So you should try to use your lead in development for something very concrete. So you should try to attack the opponent king, or if you look like there is a weak pawn or a piece which is limited its mobility, then you should try to attack and try to give checkmate or win material. If you are in the defending side, then you should try to keep the position closed until your king can castle or your king's safety is solved. Sometimes in the middle also the king can be saved if the position closed in the middle. Yeah, and gambits are typical where lead in development appears, because most of the time one player sacrificing a pawn or two and for that material gets development advantage. So sacrificing material for time. Okay, let's go and continue to look what's happened here. So here white to move, and white has a strong move, and it's really in the spirit which we discussed. So when player lead in development should try to be very aggressive and make direct attacks. So white played here e5. So white offers even a second pawn to open up the center files, the e5 and the d5, and even try to in some variations attack the king. Yeah, here the d-take e5 was played. The other option is knight takes e5, but then there is already a tactics. Also, you need to be very careful. If you have lead in development, you should be aware of possibilities of tactics. Many times your time advantage can actually change back to material advantage by tactics, so you can win back material by some tactics, like here comes knight takes e5, d takes e5, bishop takes f7, the king is overloaded, cannot defend both the f7 pawn and the queen. King takes f7, queen takes d8, and white wins the queen. So probably black already recognized these possibilities, so captured with the pawn. Then queen takes d8. Yeah, and here the better move is king takes d8 actually, but knight takes d8 was played in this example. If king takes d8, then white can capture the f7 pawn and still attack the king in later phase, and probably will win back this e5 pawn soon, and black will be left with a weak pawn on the e file. But this would be still superior to what happened in the game. So knight takes d8, knight b5, so white is threatening to, again, keep up the attack. It's really important when you are down material, but as lead in development, you should be very aggressive and try to go for the checkmate or try to go for winning material. So knight c7, and here actually black played a really bad move. King d7. Yeah, I needed to play rook b8 to this way to go out of that threat of the fork, of the knight fork. Needed to go out with one of the pieces, but it was better to move out in the rook. Move king d7. And here, please take some time Maybe if you are watching this as a video, then pause the video and find how can white give a checkmate. So white can give a checkmate in 2 moves. Yeah, the knights who are executing the checkmate. Knight takes e5 check. Actually, the king cannot do anything else but go back to the starting position with king e8, and then knight c7 checkmate comes. It's a real victory of time over material. So white sacrificed 2 pawns, but gave the checkmate at the end by attacking strongly. Okay, wonderful. So this was about leading development. Let's look the next imbalance, which is initiative. For that I will set up the position. So a few pawns for white and for black also. This will be a position where there will be so many pieces on the board. So you can call this a complicated position. And we will think about plans and possibilities for white and for black also. Okay, so this is the situation actually. And black to move. So what is initiative? Initiative is actually when you are active instead of passive. That's one way to look. So when you tell what will happen, when you are acting instead of reacting. Who has the initiative can execute his plans. Who fighting against the initiative need to defend against the opponent's plan. So normally both players has a plan and both would like to make his plan to make happen. And who can make actually that has the initiative. So he is acting. He is the leader of the game. Let's look what's going on here in this very concrete position. So black to move. So white just played knight h4. Yeah, with the idea of knight g6, forking the queen and the rook. So that's his plan. And probably later he wants also to reach the f5 square maybe with another piece. So there's no more possible maybe to play g6. Yeah, white would like to also move his other knight to e3 and then to d5 to another weak square. This is what white wants to do. And let's look what black would like to do. This a2 pawn is actually undefended. So what black would like to do is to play b5, and when the knight moves, then capture the a2 pawn. Okay, black can stop the knight g6 by playing, for example, king h7, controlling the g6 square. But if black makes this defending move, Then white can continue to push his plans and play aggressively, can capture on c5. And if knight takes c5, then playing knight e3 with the idea of knight d5. Of course, this a2 pawn is still, I think, in bad shape, but then if captured, then b4 would be a nice double attack, a nice tactic. So if the bishop moves, then the knight captured. If the knight moves, then the bishop would be captured. And if black would capture with the queen, then still knight e3. Actually, after this move, I think b5 is still b4 is still a possibility to make a double attack, but also bishop h3 is strong. Yeah, and then probably the knight is hanging, bishop f5 may come, then the g6 is also weak, so the attack probably would win here for white on the king side. So if just king h7, then white could continue and continue with the initiative to make what he wants to happen. So let's take a quick look on what if queen takes c5. Knight e3, knight b6. So instead of capturing here, and then knight to d5. Yeah, the d5 square is nice. Okay, again, there are tactics. Always you should be aware of tactics. If the knight captures, pawn takes, pawn takes, pawn takes, and then there is a nice double attack here to win the rook. Okay, if bishop takes, he takes d7, knight e7, queen e4 check, king h8. Okay, and then here, yeah, white can save the pawn. If it's captured, then rook c1 would, after the exchange, rook c1 would come, and we get some activity here on with the rook. So this would happen if black would just play defensive, kind of just reacting for the act of the knight and playing here, but he can also make a counter move, which way maybe he can actually get the initiative. Please try to find a move for black. Maybe stop the video. Okay, so queen f7. This is a move which also prevents knight g6 by controlling this one, and also actually in the same time puts the knight on c4 under attack. Yeah, it defends, and in the same time black forcing his plan to make happen, which we said maybe like to winning the a2 pawn. Yeah, and we can look what white's possibilities are here. Yeah, actually now the knight cannot really make the e3 move after the exchange, because probably bishop takes a2 is stronger than the other lines, because that will be protected by the queen. And as we look now, black is in the driving seat, so he tells what will happen. Yeah, if rook takes d7, just a few ideas. If rook takes d7 and try to get like 2 pieces for the rook, then queen takes g4. Takes. Yeah, if white would capture on f8, then black just captures here, and in the end, black is up a rook. Capture the rook fd8, and yeah, black has two extra exchanges, 2 rooks for the 2 bishops. So rook takes d7 is not working here. Yeah, bishop takes c5, then bishop takes c4, it's attacking the queen, and then capturing the bishop, so it wins the piece. And there is also an interesting, nice looking move. Yeah, white this way tried to regain actually the initiative, because now not just defends the c4 but also attacks in the same time the bishop. Yeah, and white is hoping for like capture. And after the exchanges, white gets some attack against the black king, but probably this is also good for black. But black can just simply play here b6, and now the a5 is protected, the rook is hanging, and the c4 knight is also hanging. Okay, so well, let's look. There's I think one more possibility. Yeah, if playing b3, probably that's the best way. The bishop takes c4, he takes c4, but you look, this looks really ugly, those pawns. Yeah, 2 double pawns, 2 double isolated pawns. Probably maybe better actually to give up this pawn on a2 than allowing these 2 double pawns. Okay, so this was about initiative, to trying to force your plan. Instead, let the opponent force his plan. Let's look the next imbalance, which will be king safety. So let me put pawns on the board. So here we will look at an example when white is already castled. Normally when you castle, your king is safer than when you are uncastled. Like black king is on e8, can be in bigger danger than the white king in g1. Okay, I think we have the rooks and one need the queens. Okay, yeah, white to move. So as we said, normally the position of the king when castled is safer than when in the middle, because you are like now the 3 pawns protecting. Of course, also important if there are pieces around the king, opponent pieces, because in the castle king can be also in big problems if there are many. Thank you very much. If there are many pieces around. So what can you do here with white? So as we look like here, black is up a pawn, so white already sacrificed a pawn for leading development. Actually, what was just the previous one before the previous unbalance, lead in development, but actually also the initiative. White has also the initiative because he's forcing his plan about black. And actually there is a little tactics here, which is a nice way to use that extra time and safety problems of the black king. So white to move, please take some time, maybe pause the video. Okay, so knight takes f7. Yeah, destroying the defensive possibility of the king. If king takes f7, yeah, queen takes c7 actually is still better to avoid the biggest problems or to avoid the checkmate. King takes f7. This happens in this example. Queen takes e6 check. If the king goes back to the 8th rank, then queen f7 checkmate comes. King g6. Then you can give a checkmate in 2 moves. Please take some time. You pause the video and try to find it yourself. Bishop d3 check. King h5, queen h3 checkmate. Yeah, this example I think clearly shows the danger when one player don't castle and keeps the king in the center. So you should be aware yourself to try to castle, and you should also be aware if the opponent king is in the center, then you should looking for tactical possibilities to open the files toward the king and try to use it for checkmating the king or winning material. Okay. And one more example we have today, and one more imbalance, which will be about statics versus dynamics. For that I will show you a position, actually, which is typical one about statics versus dynamics, where white will have a isolated pawn. Yeah, this would be just enough to place, but I will put on some more pieces. So white has a static weakness, a weak pawn on d4. An isolated pawn considered a weakness because it cannot be defended by other pawns, only by pieces. So d4 pawn is an isolated pawn. White has that static weakness. But in many situations, what happens if one player has a static weakness, has some dynamic advantage which compensates it. Like this is an example about that. Dynamic advantage can be time advantage or also can be space advantage. Like in this position, the d4 pawn gives white space, extra space. Yeah, so black is hoping for an endgame where, yeah, normally when you have a static advantage, so you have a better pawn structure, then you try to go for the endgame, because many times in the endgame the weak pawns became weaker, so then you can win the weak pawn. If you have a dynamic advantage, then you should try your dynamic advantage, like here the space advantage, and this more space actually gives, thank you very much, gives actually attacking possibilities for white, which probably he should try to use to attack the king. Matt Witches, thank you very much for following. He can use that dynamic advantage, the more space, for attacking the king, and then try to checkmate the king, or hopefully win material, which will balance the static disadvantage or even make more than enough for it. Yeah. Also, sometimes we can look like weak squares as a static weakness, like we looked in the previous imbalances, like on the weak squares. But typically there are pound weaknesses. Those are the static weaknesses, the isolated pounds or backward pounds or double pounds. Okay, so we discussed the second part. We looked the second part of the imbalances, which will be discussed in this book in more detail. So just to quickly review the imbalances, first was the superior minor piece, then pound structure, the third was space, material, contour of a key phi. Those was in the first part of this series, and this session, we studied the control of a weak square, leading development, initiative, king safety, and the last was statics versus dynamics. The next time we will study some exercises and examples about plannings, how can we use these imbalances to create plans. Thank you very much for watching. Hope to see you in the coming sessions. Bye bye.